Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is 2:02 in the East Coast. Welcome, everybody, to Sage Stream, graciously hosted by NAP for these next 2 weeks. We have day two of programming. We're going to do a fitness program with my guest, who I'll bring in just a second. I am in the East Coast in Huntersville, North Carolina. I am president of the Aging Experience and also creator of Sage Stream, the Senior Entertainment and Education Network. I'll just let you know that there are severe storms in our area today, so I'm praying and hoping we get through the hour, because you know how that happens. If the electric goes off, your whole life stops because your internet goes out. But hopefully we won't have that problem today, and we'll have a smooth program. Just a couple of housekeeping notes at the end of each program. We have a couple screens where we'll have QR codes. One is for Inez Delgado's program on Friday. Wonderful program. She's a violinist in the UK. She plays with the London Philharmonic, and she has a handout in Word and PDF, and you could basically take a picture of the screen. So have your camera handy for that. And then I will also have another screen for a survey of today's program. We graciously thank Music for Dementia in the UK, and also Second Wind Dreams, PK Bevel's great organization in Georgia that grants wishes to seniors and also does the virtual dementia tour, for helping me design the survey. If you have any comments, I'll be moderating the chat as well. And I'll tell you a little bit about Sage Stream at the end of the program. But right now I have to reach over because I don't have a director. Maybe one day I'll be fortunate, but we're going to bring in my guest for the day. Hi, Lisa Priebe. How are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic.
Well, that is great. You're looking good. You got the whole setup going on there. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Lisa. I'm the motivated trainer. I try to bring all the wellness and fitness methodologies and science to both underserved but overstressed. So, in an underwhelming fashion, I'm a Minnesota girl who found herself in the big city, and I just love movement. So, I try to find ways to share it and use it.
And you train people of all ages, is that correct?
Yes, yes, yep. I like to say my niche is mature adults, and I mean that in every uh, fashion of the definition. So not only older adults, but uh, boomers, professionals. I like to say from 8 to 80.
Right. And we realize the quality of life depends on a lot of being active as we age. So definitely important work that you're doing, and that's why we called the network Sage Stream. I was trying not to use senior or old, because sage implies wisdom usually comes with age. So anyway,
Yes.
I'm going to let you get to it, and you won't hear me anymore. You might be able to see me on your monitor, but the program is yours for the next 30 minutes. And thank you so much for participating. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Anthony. I am thrilled to be with you here today. We are going to cover a lot. I need to watch my clock because I could do this all day. We are going to start first by getting in our bodies. I expect we anticipated to move, or at a minimum breathe. And I do this with all sessions, group one-on-ones, until we really get present and checked into our bodies. We really can't know what might be available to us. So really enhancing our kind of mind body, but self awareness. As I mentioned, we live in a busy world, and there are lots of distractions, and often we get lost in the shuffle, our self care. So I'm shoulder mobilizations, just rolling, shrugging. You can protract, which just pulls forward and opens up those shoulder blades, and then expand that heart, pulling it to the front of the chest with a really proud head. Part of getting in our body is also grounding or rooting. So we're going to start from the feet up. You will hear me use a lot of cues repeatedly, and one of them is superhero posture. And again, we are most stable when our brain trusts that our feet are rooted or grounded to the earth. And then we pull up through those legs, give them a squeeze. You kind of see me moving and fidgeting here in place because I'm shifting my weight as, again, I try to keep the heart and head proud, or the crown lifted. So from those feet, we're going to draw up and squeeze the legs, and what I refer to as the back pockets. I'll use a few other words as well. Draw your abdomen in, and let's start to bend and extend a little bit, just trying to keep the abdomen or your belly button kissing on the spine as we hinge the hips just gently into the back. I'm going to remind you of that superhero stance quite a lot. We're going to extend all the way up as much as my feet are rooting or earthing, pushing the earth away. So my crown lifts and my abdomen draws in like a corset, which brings me to the next and most powerful segment of the body. Again, as we start from the ground up, just shifting, continuing to breathe. I know I'm talking a lot, but I promise I'm getting some breaths in too. Is this collarbone to thigh bone area, that corset, keeping it cinched, but while still maintaining breath. And this until the end of time. Think of it as your power strip, your battery pack, your engine room, truly of power. If you can keep those shoulders and hips healthy, they are our only two I-beams in the body. If you're familiar with construction or that of scaffolding and a house, let's draw up now, opening and starting to move the arms from those shoulders. We typically kind of throw ourselves about, not recognizing or connecting, staying in our body, that all movement comes from this collarbone to thigh bone area. So once we're good and in our body, well oxygenated, we're going to bring the hands into what's called a fold, a forward fold, but we're going to brace the hands on the legs. And as we do just a few more of these hinges and what's called kind of a cat-cow, I want to talk about our space, making sure your environment is safe for movement. So whether you're observing today or seated and want to move from wherever you find yourself, or perhaps able and motivated to stand with me, but having a stable surface, maybe a high back chair or wall nearby. So here's this cat-cow working through the posterior, again, putting space between our joints, continually drawing that navel in to protect the low back. You can't squeeze those back pockets without triggering this lumbar, and that's, again, where your stability is going to come from. All right, so we have breath. We've checked in with our body. Notice if there's any areas maybe that have chronically given us trouble. And then we're just going to step side to side. We walk front to back all day long. And again, using a wall or chair as necessary while trying to keep that stovepipe, that scaffolding upright. Hands can also brace on the hips if you have any shoulder issues. If not, you are welcome to bring it to shoulder height. I like to think of everything, as I say, optional. I'm your personal suggester. I go by personal trainer, but personal suggester, in that if I give you something that's greater than you are able to do, you're going to tell yourself or tell me as if. I want you to just move with whatever intensity, but as if. Well done. Let's march in place. And I'll talk a little bit more about what we're going to get into today, other than our bodies, as I suggested. we're going to move through the 6 uh, major movement patterns of your body. They also equate to function. And I follow a functional aging training model. And that's what you'll find in most of the programming, things that hopefully make you feel good, stronger, but also building for that endurance through the future. So one thing we can move from this march to maybe a high knee, just slow it down a little bit. And I'm going to talk about stomping and standing tall. So slowing down in this idea of balance, right? We're all trying to maintain balance, both in our lives and a centeredness. Your centeredness, again, comes from that collarbone to thigh bone. And I say stomp, but of course we don't want to put stress on the joint. So I'm saying as if stomp into the earth and then lift the other leg. I've worked with some who just that movement, it's more like like they're just trying to get the leg up, but then this one buckles. We're going to stomp and stand. And this is a workout that's really designed to keep you focused on accessing your power, which is right here in your breath. Here's my second word, back pockets, or can I say it, butt and gut, because there's a really good little abbreviation, BGB, I kind of made up, that you can steal anytime you're bracing to do work, butt, gut, breath, and then you'll be ready to do it. So we moved into some high knees. I know I'm giving you an earful today, and then if you should be able to get some of this movement and attach it to the meaning, the why it's important, I find is so much more valuable than just doing mindless movement for the sake of that movement. Great job, everyone. Deep breath, inhale. So let's really, again, move into our real estate. We wouldn't give any of our real estate away, especially some of these zip codes are a little ridiculous, right? Across the country, I happen to live in one. Deep breath, inhale, lift the ribs from the hips from the thigh bones if you want to add that hinge. If you feel any pain or discomfort, you know, they say no pain, no gain. It's a gray area of the discomfort from movement, fatigue, working out. But if it ever moves into what you would deem to be pain, we are going to pull back and again do the as if version I've hopefully given you or you're comfortable with on your own. So from that standing superhero strong, we're going to move into squats. This is that first foundational movement pattern that the body is both capable of and is necessary to think of so many things you do in your day that require it. But I bet most of us do a version that looks like this. Boop. I've even seen it in some, directed exercise programming or handouts. So here I'm buckling my knees and went into flat butt. I'm going to say it again. Sorry, guys. And nothing is activated back here. So it's all about activating, getting those heels in contact with your hips. That just automatically triggers or activates, even if it's the smallest movement right there, practicing that little smile line at the top of your legs as they insert into the glutes or your backside. So tightening the belt, that's another cue you'll hear a lot. Keeping that abdomen, kissing the spine, everything kind of meets in the middle. Again, use that chair or wall and really aim. I also call it a bunny tail. Push the hips back. It's not going to feel ladylike. It's probably not going to feel natural to most of us. But as I stand, that's when I trigger. I stop my feet, push the earth away, and stand tall. And you see me doing a lot of gesturing, touching. There is a reason. Your brain loves touch. Don't we all love a good hug and that feeling associated to it? I often, with permission, will just touch or tap a client, and they know immediately what I'm referring or asking to do. So that's a good many squats. I'm going to turn and face you one more time so you can see that the feet are hip distance. Corkscrew them into the earth. Draw up through that proud crown and heart. We're going to squat with or without the chair, adding this arm or sometimes a loaded squat gives you the leverage to push back just a little deeper. How low should you go might be a question someone has. Not any lower than you can get back up from and without engaging those knees. If you're feeling your knees, we're probably pouring or what I call leaking out into areas we might be vulnerable from past injury, joint replacements. It's all good. We're just going to try to find, again, centeredness to what our body presents on that given day. So that was a lot of squatting. Let's stretch in the sense we use the second foundational movement, which is a hinge. I'm going to keep my legs straight, draw my abdomen in. I am going to use my legs or this chair to support this forward fold or hinge. So this is the hinge. And woo, probably all you'll feel is a really nice stretch in the back of the legs. And again, I'm relaxing the glutes as I fold, pulling in my tummy, stomping my feet, squeezing those hips by wrapping those glutes around. Inhale and exhale. I'm not ever as concerned as to when you inhale or when you exhale. Most important, it's clearly that we're breathing, right? So this hinge, this might be all some of us can or should do. So please do not strive. It's again about staying in your body, again, particularly at these shoulders and hips, because we focus on what the hands and feet are doing. And when we see a exercise video, sorry, I'm moving into a squat again, my bad. There's the hinge. And what I love to do is pull those elbows so I'm bracing. That's another word that you will find in every exercise and hopefully in a lot of the work you do in your daily living. I hope you're bracing. Butt, gut, breath. Whoops, gut, butt, breath. It goes either way. You can say it in any order, but that you're preparing for the movement and then moving with intention, mindfulness. You know, I know mind body is a big trend and it might seem a little woo-woo to some of us, but that connection is real. And the more you can get the nerves, your mind, your brain, nervous system working with the muscular system, the more you're going to benefit, activate. All right, so here is our hinge. I wanted to show one thing from the hinges that are beneficial. So I'm braced, I'm folded. I can even kind of move into a stretch if I pull through those hips, a deeper stretch across my hips. Again, if you're feeling any back pain, this is still a hinge. And it's hard no matter where I am to keep that belly pulled in tight. What I wanted to demonstrate that we all can benefit from are some shoulder exercises. So if you are an office worker or you spend a lot of time at the computer, at the car, at the kitchen sink, we reach often without this connectedness. And I wanted to demonstrate how this arm is moving in actuality from this shoulder blade. Because I could do this. Some of us might think we've stretched our arm out, but it's still bent, a contracture of sorts, because we haven't been moving as much as maybe our body would have enjoyed. I want to show this mobility from the shoulder, and of course we'll do it on both sides, but first there's something, a dirty word I have to tell you. It's not part of, well, it is part of the 6-7, plank. Have you heard of the word plank? It's dreaded. It's not like walk the plank, but it is maybe like a plank of wood. It's an exercise, and I like to give it to people standing. You've already heard superhero corkscrew. You know how to get your body upright. Now I'm just going to ask you to pull the arms up on the shelf, if you will, maybe of your armpit. And I don't know if you could just see. Let's imagine I'm a fruit stand. Apples, not applesauce. Squeeze those glutes, stomp the feet, surfboard strong. pull the elbows in. This is going to be challenging for a lot of people to not maybe be out here, here, or here, but to hold this plank. And that's exactly what it looks like, whether we take it here, to, like to do a plank or on the floor. I don't want to belabor it. You've probably all heard or seen or done Cher's 6-minute plank, right? That was a trend for a while. The longer you could plank, the better. I actually prefer that you turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. That will serve you better. But the reason I go into all of this in our hinge, and again, I'm just going to turn this way so we get the other side as I demonstrate. So if you're participating with me, go ahead and give a few of these a try. Notice my shoulder is not falling off my body, so to speak. So that's what I called, don't let me rip your arm off your body. Park that shoulder on your spine. So we've already talked a little bit about kissing and hugging. Let your shoulder blades park right next to your spine. There should be 2 little kisses there, and that's going to strengthen those muscles under the shoulder blades so that you aren't winging. Don't we all dread or fuss at our spouses, male or female, to sit up taller, and our children? This is the muscle in conjunction with that gut breath. The shoulders parking on the spine one as much as those hips. So when we hinge and do any movement, here's the big takeaway. There is always a plank. You are always doing a plank. So if you can master that connection of docking all your body parts onto that trunk, collarbone to thigh bone, you have power. Again, as if, so if this is a lot for you, again, you want to be supported in this fold. Most of us need a little bit of reinforcement for these back muscles as we strengthen and progress. We're not seeking, striving for perfection. All right, awesome job. You might even want to bump those hips out now. Wag your tail a little bit. March in place if you got any heat. If you haven't got any heat, we might just find it now. We're going to talk about that third core movement pattern of the body, and it's the lunge. Don't worry, we're not going to get there yet. We're going to do some hip hikers. So you get to continue practicing stomping into the ground and lifting. I call them hip hikers because I was around when, hitchhiking was still a thing. I didn't do it. No worries. I don't recommend it. But basically, we're hitching a ride with this hip. Maybe that wasn't ever the intention, but that's how I connect a lot of movement to something relatable. Keep that tummy pulled in tight. We don't have to balance, but wow, could you pull your belt in, squeeze your bottom, stomp your foot? We should be playing music or something. That sounds like a band beat. And then I'm trying to exaggerate it so you can see it and your mirror neurons can duplicate it as appropriate to you. But right there, itty bitty, that's probably plenty, because can I take an informal pull? Where did you feel it? On the moving hip or on that stable hip that was holding you up? That's where I felt it. So again, we can wag our tail. We can do a few hula hoops. When you get that kind of heat or burn, hopefully not pain, it's good to release it or get rid of it, to move a little bit, do some kind of active recovery. It's lactic acid. It's just a byproduct, and it tells me as a trainer that you're doing the work, you're doing the good. So I'm going to stay on this side, but switching. Other hip. We're going to do about 10 to 12. I haven't really talked about reps, just been flapping my lips a lot at you, right? I like to go for time under tension. And I really, again, encourage you to stay in your body and learn when enough is enough. Just because I can do something does not mean I've had to learn this lesson again and again, and I'm sure I'll continue to. Just because I can do it does not mean I should. and I feel great, but then a day or two later, I've overdone. And I would say again, if that has happened to you, active recovery. It doesn't seem like the antidote. Most of us want to curl up on the couch, but gentle movement. If you have overdone in physical therapy or in your own gardening or daily activities, you want to work that heat out. So thank you for letting me share that very important plank posture, hip hiker lunge. So we've talked squat, hinge, and then I talked about lunge, but I really wanted to warm that hip up, these muscles that hold, again, the integrity of our scaffolding, and the lunge, the dreaded lunge, right? Lots of ways to do it. Just a step forward, load that front foot as if, look at that, I only moved like an inch or two. You could alternate it. So if you're looking to maintain some heat and maybe sweat, you're going to do some moving versions of these static or stable exercises. So again, as appropriate, you might leave the wall, leave your chair. Again, I like to touch, so I am squeezing my thumb to trigger or remind these glutes to fire. And you saw me weeble wobble a little bit. It is better to weeble wobble in a safe environment, controlled in training, if you will, right? That's what training is. We're all in process rather than at the shopping mall. So we're going to tummy tuck. You might have to do two episodes. We'll see if we get through all 6 of these movements. I'll try to speed it up without overwhelming any more than I might have already. So here's the lunge. Now let's hold static for just a minute. I want to show a few things. Knee over the tower of your foot. How many pictures have you seen of this? Again, leaking, dumping, flat bottom. Pull the hips back, down and up. Down and up. That's that lunge. Pull the tummy in tight. Again, the tower, we're actually moving up and down in your center of gravity, not forward and back. So that also is tempting to pull from your center of gravity, and then you're less stable. So stay in your zone. Again, that posture works everywhere. That plank is everywhere. That's the lunge that we can build upon and make moving. Number 4, the push, the pull, right? So those are actually 2 you're familiar with, and I bet maybe know just how to do. We can do getting into our body on the wall, a wall push-up. Inhale, exhale, push. Here's the thing. Hands just below shoulder or armpit height. Pull the elbows back. This is my favorite one to say, as if, because maybe you're just going to do a shoulder push-up. If you have a lot going on in your shoulders, a lot of fire, that's all you're going to do. It's a little plus sign with your spine or bending. And if you do them from countertops, one more variation, guys, pulling in, getting into that 10, 12 rep range, or going for time. Notice I'm bracing the arms at my side. We mentioned having some water or towel while you work. So if you'd like to take a drink, I'm also going to use it as my transition. We mentioned in the intro that you might have dumbbells or cans of soup. Pushing is something we do a lot of in our daily living. I would advise or recommend you work on the back side of your body so that we stay upright and life doesn't beat us down, right? That's that posture we're trying to avoid. So hinge those hips. Look at how so many of this comes together. We're going to squat a little bit. Brace here, or on your own body to pull. To pull. Like you're starting a lawnmower. So you might even want to step into a variation of that lunge. Push the earth away. Every time I pull that hand to my hip, I'm pulling that abdomen in, and lengthening my spine. So what a lot of people do is look down. There are very few exercises you're ever looking down. Those were two fashion do nots. Head proud, heart shining, right there. Same is true here, according to the strength of your row. Notice my arm isn't falling off. It's kissing my spine at the shoulder. Oh, you guys are fantastic. Are you getting all this? Taking notes? You can send in any questions, or maybe I should have put a handout to go along with this session. That's the row. If you haven't already, let's switch sides. And then I'm going to talk about the sixth and final pattern. Notice I went a little lower. Again, always from the earth. Your brain has to trust you're stable. So that's why the environment of your body and the environment of the space you're in, remaining safe. And I'm pushing as I pull. This is as effective as long as I can let gravity rain down on my back. That assures the right muscles are doing this work. Just a few more on this side. I think everything else we did was using two arms at the same time. So here, I can really focus on my breath. Again, pulling my waistline in, stomping my feet, breathing, extending, and contracting. Last two, one, done, and you can say it as if, especially if you're feeling a little sassy, spunky, if I'm making you work harder than you intended. So those were the 6 core body positions. And I'll tell you one other, when we put it all together, it's a carry. We just put some of those movements together, and then that's really where we start to gain traction. I work with a younger next year philosophy. Don't let anyone tell you it isn't possible. We just take bite-sized actions every day. We're going to finish with a little bit of a stretch, active recovery I talked about earlier. My goal is that you will both age boldly with strength and power, but also pliability, mobility. They all are married together. Here's that cat, cow, and why don't we take this last minute or two from our chair? A lot, if not everything we just did, could have been done from the chair. And I'm going to show you in this last minute or two how, while we stretch. So here's the hip hinge. Just folding, we're adding a little cat-cow. What that means is rounding like a Halloween cat and then swaying our back like a cow in the pasture. Inhale, yeah, maybe not the most attractive picture, but we're gonna use it to lengthen. So this hinge, notice I'm bracing, but you may be able to reach tall overhead and draw all the way through. Again, relaxing the head. I'm bracing my arms. Look at my head is still attached to my shoulders. Deep breath. Inhale again. Let's do a little side body stretch. You can stay right here. Might feel a little pull on the side of that hip. And as I turn and look at that, it's a little bit of a lunge position, but it's also a great hip flexor stretch. So if you had been seated, and I apologize if I didn't give you all of these as we were working, here's my as if in action. As if. That's a lot. As if, and maybe nothing will move. What's happening is that, again, neuromuscular, and over time, it will come up. I promise you, the body doesn't lie. Here's that same version for the squat. You can still be cat-cowing in your side body bends. I didn't leave you, I promise. Right here with you. And then you can see how coming here into that side lunge. And again, maybe it's going to be here, here. Don't be discouraged. The body doesn't like. You give it the stimulus, just like giving a plant water, your pets food. Here's that same as if. You use whatever you've got, wherever you are, if you have a supportive partner or aide or assistant, we all need an assistant. I need an assistant. There it is, that push pull. There's the lunge, the hinge. Let's just rainbow reach. Inhale again, wherever these arms can take you. So some might need more protected. Embrace those arms as you do this rainbow reach. Lift from your spine and then gently rotate. That's that last squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, rotate. Here's that rainbow reach. And you can do that from any of the other movements. Gosh, guys, I hope I covered it all. Pull a knee, and if you need a little more low back and stretch, but I'm so happy to have been with you today, and I hope we'll meet again soon.
Hey there, Lisa. Thank you so much. That was great. I love the fact that you ended it up on the chair. I think that's what a lot of residents will relate to. But you also use the chair for support and use the wall for support. And I think we just got a taste of how we can customize your programs as we move along, and also give people a taste of what we're going to offer here on Sage Stream. And so I look forward to other programs from you in the future.
Thank you. I do too.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I have a few housekeeping items. I just had my house cleaned as I'm saying that. So I'm getting mixed up. I told her she had to run the vacuum before 2 o'clock Eastern. So
send her my way.
House cleaning, housekeeping, whatever. I have a few of those duties to do, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye bye. All righty. Well, like I said before, couple screens with some QR codes on here. These QR codes are from Inez Delgado, and Inez is going to do a wonderful program on the violin next on Friday. So you should download. One is a PDF, and one is a Word document, and so you can open those up, and it'll help you do her program and follow along. The next, here we go, more QR codes. So the top one is a survey. And again, it was helped with Music for Dementia in the UK, and also Second Wind Dreams. So if you could scan that and fill out the survey. Our artist today is Lisa Priebe, Priebe. Yesterday they thought the artist was me. I'm just the moderator. But that's a good segue, because I will be the artist on July 2nd, I think at 2 o'clock, where I'm billing it as a by request. And believe me, I have about 1,000 songs on my repertoire, and they're more diverse than you would probably think. I'm just not a guy who sings Frank Sinatra. We sing all kinds of things, including some of today's music. So I strap the Les Paul on if necessary, and we're rocking and rolling and jamming. So that second QR code there is it'll take you to a song list. And so if you scan that and go to a song list and actually pick out some songs, you could email me at ac@sagestream.live, or maybe even put a message here on the NAP page, as I'll be moderating comments there as well. And so I think that's about it for today. Again, this is just a proof of concept we're doing for the next 2 weeks with NAP, and we're so happy they allowed us to use this platform. We're just kind of proving that, A, we have good content providers, and that our production capabilities and streaming all works. It seems to have been. Sometimes the elements get in the way, but so we'd really be interested in your feedback. We definitely need your feedback. And, we're already talking to big assisted living and other chains about bringing this to their whole community. But, if you work in home care, or, somebody who's aging in place, or are just an individual activity director who wants to avail themselves of this, our goal is to have a live stream or pre-recorded program every weekday at some point that you can use as your primary activity method. Or It could be something that, hey, I don't have anything today. Let's see what Sage Stream is offering. It's going to be incredibly affordable. When you get it down to offering a program a day and we increase the number of people who are using it, it really comes down to, $5-6 a program, probably less as we grow the network. So that's my little spiel. I am going to put Lisa's disclaimer up here one more time so that you have a chance to read it, because obviously anytime you're doing fitness programs, we want to make sure that you're safe. So I'll end with her disclaimer, our little brand logo. Tomorrow we have Andrea Miller, beautiful jazz singer, has toured the world with the likes of Al Jarreau. If you ever look her up on her Facebook page, you will see her with a picture of Quincy Jones. We'll talk to her about that. And then Franco Semenko is a great chef. He was one of the finalists on the Bon Appetit contest they had about a month or so. It wrapped up. And he's going to make chicken marsala. So as you see, even though we started with music on Monday, we're not always going to be music. Of course, we have next week somebody you might be familiar with, Gloria Hoffner, and her Science for Seniors program, which is always a great hit, and she's just a colorful character. So we'll see you again tomorrow with Andrea Miller and Franco Semenko. Thanks, everybody.